What's up guys? Welcome back to Mobile Suit Highlights. This week we have the Victory 2 Gundam, piloted by Uso Evan from Victory Gundam. The V2 is one of the more complex suits in the game. It comes with 3 different forms, each with their own different movesets. You start off with the V2 mode first, when you enter battle, but you can switch to V2 Assault mode right away if you want to. And then when the gauge is at 100, as you see at the bottom right, you can switch to V2 Assault Buster mode. We'll just dive in right now to each mode, see what they can do with their weapons. Here we have the V2 mode. Main method of attack is the beam rifle. 3 shots down an enemy, and it is boost dash cancelable as well. The next weapon it has is the multiple launcher. The multiple launcher can be hit confirmed into another shot of the multiple launcher, or other beam rifle shots. So there's room for a lot of capitalization and damage when you get a hit confirm with it. Here we have the inputs for the equipment changes. I'm just showing you right now what are the inputs to go into the other forms, but we'll actually get into their movesets later. I want to get V2 mode out of the way first. While there is a good amount of melee moves for the V2 in all of its modes, it's not really a melee-centric suit. It excels at long range or mid-range, and I recommend you just stay there. Don't try to get into melee range at all. If you absolutely must have to melee them, I recommend doing it in the V2 mode because it has more movesets in V2 mode compared to Assault and Assault Buster mode. And it's more mobile that way as well. But just overall, I wouldn't really bother with melee with this suit. That wraps up the V2 mode. Next we'll move into its Assault mode. Its standard A-shot is boost dash cancelable, but I discourage trying to connect 2 shots in a row because as you can see it just pushes them back. If all shots of the charge A connects, it'll push the enemy down. Its AB is pretty good for punishing landings. It also comes out relatively fast compared to other attacks of that nature from other suits. BC is good for stunning opponents in place, but because of its low travel speed, it's kinda hard to connect in an actual match. Like I said, the Assault mode has much more limited options in melee. What it does have with the V2 mode is Mega Beam Shield. It'll block oncoming projectile attacks, and also you can fire projectiles through it. I don't really use it much because the startup time for it is kinda long in an actual match. Assault Buster or AB mode has the same shot properties in its A as Assault mode. After one shot connects, it'll just down them, so it's discouraged to follow it up with another shot, just let it connect. AB is really good because once it connects, it'll plop the enemy into the air and you can follow it up with another shot. When you do any kind of equipment purge, it always go back to V2 mode first, so if you want to go to Assault mode from Assault Buster mode, you always have to go through V2 mode first. While AB mode does have a handful of options for melee, I'd rather you spend that countdown timer while you're on it, just pushing your options using your beam rifle and missiles because they do more damage than any of your melee can do. You also have the Mega Beam Shield in Assault Buster mode. You can make use of that. I really don't, for the reasons I mentioned earlier, but you're free to. To address the issue of whether or not you should use Wings of Light with this suit, when it connects, it does a lot of damage, but you're so vulnerable to your opponent's partner that I don't think it's worth doing because of the animation time of it. It just takes a long time to get done. This is the first suit that we've looked at that has an EX burst attack. My opinion on EX burst attacks is I don't really bother with them. They waste a lot of EX, and that EX can be better used, way better used. For movement options with the Victory 2 Gundam, I recommend just sticking to your standard boost dash jumping. Stay within mid-range or long range. Remember when you get into another mode, there is a brief pause, so make sure to time your mode switching so you're at a safe spot so you don't get punished for it. We'll dive into online matches right now and see what really is the role of this suit in battle. What can you do against enemies, basically? So for this first online match of the V2, we'll just go over some basic spacing techniques and cost management for it. Since we're paired up with the Arch Gundam in this match, it's a 2500 cost suit, and whenever you're paired up with a 2500 cost suit with a 3000 suit, you want to do one of two things. You either want to be the first to die, or do not die at all during the match, because overcost will hit 3000 suits hard because of their high HP, and you really don't want that. It could be the big difference between a win and a loss for the other team. Now comes the question on when you should start mode switching with the V2 Gundam. Honestly, it really depends on who your enemies are and how well you know the matchup against those enemies. Right now we're against the Forbidden and GPO2 Gundam. Both of them aren't really melee-centric suits, so I can keep my distance with the V2 mode, but once they start going at around half health, I usually switch to the Assault mode because I can take them out easily with a higher damaging weapon arsenal. So in this range with the V2, you want to start punishing every little mistake they do, as you can see here. Just don't give them a chance to get your partner, don't give them a chance to damage you. Switch to Assault Buster mode if needed to achieve that. Also keep over on your time under Assault Buster mode, because when your armor purges from your Buster mode, as you see right there, it gives you a slight pause and you can get punished for that. As a side note, people are asking me how long you're invulnerable to the nuke when you're down and you get up. Well, here's your answer right here. Not that long. So yeah. In this match we'll examine when's a good time to go to Assault mode right away. One of the opponents I'm facing here is the Full Armor Double Zeta Gundam, so I immediately switched to Assault mode. The reason for this is because the Full Armor Double Zeta Gundam has lasers in which it puts it to a super armor state as it's firing them. You want to try to punish that, and you don't want that threat on your partner and you, as you see there. I think that you can punish it by either your AB, of course, or 2 shots from your A in Assault mode. There'll be times when you're put into a melee situation forcefully as a V2 Assault mode. My best suggestion to you is either try to shoot them off and hopefully one of them hits, or use your V-beam and hopefully they don't dodge and then punish you either way. A reliable way to mode switch with the V2 in a safe manner is get a hit confirm off of one of your projectiles and then mode switch right away. So now the race against time begins. I'm the first one to die so I don't get hit with overcost, but my partner was a 2500 suit, so he's overcosted. What you want to do immediately is, if you have EX, use it right away. Make sure to keep both opponents company. You want any firepower from them directed to you. Be the threat as much as possible. Thankfully, we're able to finish it off, but I'm sure within the next few seconds we would have died and had a terrible loss. Now if you're facing off against opponents with annoying projectiles and that they're melee-centric suits, such as the Arch Gundam with its fangs, you want to stick with the V2 mode for a little bit at the beginning of the match just to avoid it from a distance. Here's a brief example of what happens when you get punished during a mode switch. You still get into that mode after the hit, but it could have been a lot worse if the player decided to punish me severely for it. It's just another easy mistake to make with the V2. Note that the Assault Buster's normal shot has a great dead angle trajectory, so when they're at a dead angle from you from the air, it has more of a steep angle in which it travels, so it can hit them from that, when it's normally unable to hit with any other projectiles. Interesting observation here, but when you EX burst out of a combo, you do have a few frames of invulnerability, so that's why my AB did not connect with Arch from that close. V2 is one of those suits that you can't input error with. I was trying to go to Assault Buster mode right there, but actually pressed all 3 buttons, so it did do the EX burst attack. It's a bit of a mistake that's easy to do if you're not paying attention of what you're actually pressing. So now here's the big problem, overcost. Usually you want to try to stay away, but I know the Arch is really close to dying, so I do take an aggressive approach. You have to be really careful though. As you saw there, you can take a lot of damage. So here's where the missiles come in. Plops it into the air, and you can follow it up with a shot. Here's another time when you want to go into assault mode immediately. Master Gundam is a big problem, especially up close in melee range. You do not want to get into its melee game, you want to stay away from it as far as possible. Normally I would recommend trying to overcost 3000 suits when you're against them, but there are some suits that have that exception where you have to take them out first. This also applies to Destiny and Full Cloth in my opinion, but it's just you have to make them lose their momentum as fast as possible, because once they start giving out a lot of damage to both you and your partner lose that mental morale. And you don't want that, because it just gives them an opportunity to continue assaulting you mercilessly. It's a matter of when to activate your EX with V2. I usually do it when I'm overheating from boost. I just have no reason to save up for a full bar with EX. It definitely helps because it makes you go faster, but that's all it's really useful for me personally. I mean, other people might have other uses for it. It's just when I need something refilled, I can just go to another mode and get more firepower from there. The only real reason I need it is to refill my boost just in case someone is chasing me. So for our final online match, we'll explore one of the more scary situations in this game, where there are 3000 suits together in one team. Your role as the V2 in this team is just be a support. So this match serves as a summary for what you've already seen from V2 in the other matches. There's not much else to add on what the V2 can do. There's no more any new tricks I can show you with it. All I can really say is serve as a really strong support for any match that you do when playing it. Your main role is not a tank. You're not meant to take damage for your partner with it. You just want to serve as much damage as possible while taking as little damage with it. You don't want to be in a melee range with other suits because its melee game is not that strong. Overall, the V2 is a very good suit in this game. It does come with its flaws, but it can dish out a lot of fire damage really fast. And you don't really have to worry about ammo count for it because of the 3 modes. Mastering each of the modes and when to use them is essential to getting really good with this unit. But that's about it for this episode, guys. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, IRC in the forums. The poll for the next episode is up. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a great day, guys.